Archangel Michael says it's an important alert. Michael is crying loudly because you don't listen this urgent message. A millionaire has taken a sudden interest in you. They are shocked. The sky darkens in a way that no forecast predicted. It is not the kind of storm that gathers with clouds, but the kind that grows behind eyes that have seen too much and can no longer remain silent. Archangel Michael stands at the edge of heaven's gate, and his voice does not just tremble, it roars through your bones. There is a sound you haven't heard yet, but your spirit has already responded. It's the cry of a divine protector whose tears are not water, but flame, tears that fall and scorch the timelines of those who thought they were untouchable. Someone nearby has ignored a sacred warning, and now the wind around them carries the smell of judgment. Archangel Michael says there are 4 people in your life who have been holding you in place with invisible ropes. These are not ropes you can cut with human strength. They are woven with manipulation, with guilt, with memory, with false promises made during your weakest hour. In a vision hidden from your waking mind, Michael stood beside your bed while you slept. Your soul called out in whispers, terrified of something it could not name. And the archangel saw it clearly. Someone was tampering with the locks on the doors of your future. You were never meant to live in such spiritual captivity. Your hands were formed to break chains, not wear them. But the one who cried loudest for your freedom is the same one the enemy tried hardest to silence. God says your name was just spoken in a courtroom in the heavenly realm. Not in accusation, but in intervention. Your case has reached a level where divine decision must break through the delays that man has created. The air today felt strange, didn't it? A cold that arrived too quickly. A noise in the hallway that vanished when you turned. This is not paranoia, it's proximity. Something is brushing up against your life that is not meant to be there. The person who smiled at you recently with a softness you missed so deeply is wearing a mask they cannot hold up much longer. Their kindness hides a deal they made that benefits from your pain. The betrayal is not new, but the exposure is. Archangel Michael says the shaking has begun beneath your home, not physical shaking, but a rumble in the spirit world. Angels are preparing to intercept what was about to be stolen from your timeline. A protection has been restored, but it comes with a price. You may feel the urge to isolate, to withdraw, to become silent again. That's because the spiritual battle is attempting to cloud your vision with despair. But heaven is not silent. The moon trembled behind torn clouds because something holy is shifting. God says there is a hidden door near you that others have passed by without noticing. You have walked past it too, but now, it is starting to glow. A shimmering outline. A sound like glass cracking in reverse. That's your invitation. There will be a moment, very soon, where you must decide whether to go back to what is familiar but poisoned, or walk forward into a fire that purifies. Your future does not survive on comfort. It survives on confrontation with the truth. Someone recently spoke your name in disgust. They thought it cursed. They did not realize that the name they tried to curse is under divine seal. What they unleashed has turned back toward them, and it will not stop until it breaks what they built on your suffering. Archangel Michael says a strange phenomenon will occur to confirm this message. A flickering light. A door closing on its own. A sound from an empty room. Do not fear it. These are not hauntings, they are heavenly signals. The weeping of Michael is not weakness. It is a war cry wrapped in compassion. Every tear he sheds over your life becomes a blade in his hand, forged in divine fire. What he is crying about is this: you still don't know how close the breakthrough is. Heaven has already moved, but you have been paralyzed by old fears dressed in new situations. That ends now. A supernatural interruption is being scheduled, something so vivid, so undeniable, that your spirit will jolt out of its sorrow. There is a place in your soul where light has not reached for years. It is not dead. It is hidden. But now, it begins to pulse again. A warmth behind the ribs. A pressure behind the eyes. That's the divine remembering what was planted in you. God says the time for delays is over. The time for small thinking, survival mode living, shadow chasing and pretending has expired. There is thunder walking toward you, but it carries your name like a banner of victory. Someone from your past is watching you. Not from love, but from jealousy, regret, and fear. They've seen glimpses of what's about to find you, and they are trying to spiritually hijack your season of restoration. This is why the storms have increased. This is why your dreams have turned strange. The realm you cannot see has noticed the oil being poured over your name. A divine anointing is leaking through time, breaking protocol, finding you. Archangel Michael says you must prepare. Prepare not by packing, but by praying in silence. By standing still when confusion rises. By trusting the divine interruptions, even when they come as tears or losses. The next person who disappoints you is not a curse, they are a test. Do not let them collapse your momentum. Heaven is watching not your pain, but your response to it. This determines what is loosed next. You will soon feel a sensation in your chest that feels like a breaking. But it's not heartbreak, it's armor shattering. Old defense systems built in trauma are falling away, and underneath them is something soft, something ready to receive. When you were a child, you saw flashes in the dark. Now, you will see visions in the light. This time, you will not run. You will rise. The storm was never meant to destroy you, it was meant to announce you. There is a room somewhere, dimly lit, silent, filled with smoke from incense no one lit. In that room, someone who has everything still cannot sleep. They are wealthy, powerful, feared by many, but lately, your face keeps appearing in their visions, and they do not understand why. They first dismissed it as coincidence. A flicker in a dream. A name that echoed once, then twice. But when the dream returned with fire in the sky and your eyes shining like fractured glass, they sat upright, drenched in sweat, gasping your name though they've never met you. This person is no ordinary admirer. They are tied to a divine thread that was cut and sealed generations ago, now mysteriously reactivated. Their fortune came through something they stole, something they were never supposed to touch. But now that you have awakened, the cost of what they took is rising. Archangel Michael says this person was chosen to see the truth before judgment falls. They are being warned, not punished yet, but shaken. Because you were not supposed to remain invisible. Your life is coated with divine inheritance that glows when certain people look too long. When they saw you, it wasn't beauty that shocked them. It was the unbearable familiarity. Like staring into a version of their own past they abandoned to pursue power. You carry the spiritual residue of someone their ancestors wronged, and your reappearance is not random. It's reckoning. They've already made calls. Private investigators. Spiritualists. Psychics. Analysts. None of them can explain what this force is that keeps circling back to you. They are starting to understand that what they feel is not interest, it is fear dressed as fascination. God says their wealth has become unstable. Their assets are shaking like leaves beneath invisible thunder. Every time they deny the spiritual pull toward you, something in their empire grows weaker. This is not your doing. This is divine correction. You will feel it in strange ways. An invitation will come out of nowhere. A gift will arrive that confuses you. A connection will be offered through someone unexpected. These are not random acts, they are part of the millionaire's attempt to spiritually pay off a debt their soul cannot cover. Archangel Michael says you must not bow to this person's power. You must not be drawn in by their charisma, their control, or their connections. Because behind their eyes, there is still deception. They want peace, but on their terms. And heaven rejects those terms. They saw you in a dream surrounded by water. The water was rising, but you didn't drown. Instead, you floated upward with light glowing from your hands. That dream was a prophetic warning. You cannot be drowned by those who profit from silence. They are beginning to feel the divine pressure in their chest. A tightness. A slowing of time. The sound of a voice they can't locate whispering warnings in languages they do not understand. This is not madness, it is the mercy before collapse. God says this person must choose now, redemption through humility or destruction through pride. Their wealth will not protect them if they attempt to use you. The moment they think they own access to you, the spiritual contract turns against them. You may notice things changing around you. A sudden ease in one area. A complication in another. Money moving strangely. Emotions rising fast. This is the ripple of someone thinking about you with a spiritual force that is trying to bend fate, but fate is guarded by fire. The tears Michael weeps over your name are not just for your pain, they are for the collision coming. Two timelines, one of suffering stolen, the other of justice delayed, are crashing together. You stand at the intersection. Archangel Michael says the person who dreams of you was supposed to carry a blessing that included you. But ego rewrote the script. And now, they must reckon with the emptiness of a success that forgot its source. You are not a charity case. You are not a mystery to be solved. You are a living archive of God's delayed glory. And that delay has ended. The one who tried to profit off your absence must now witness your presence unfold. They may offer money, position, praise, even an apology wrapped in elegant words. But you must discern the energy behind it. Do not be seduced by desperation pretending to be divine favor. God says you will be protected during this encounter. Whether physical or spiritual, this connection has a boundary line marked in holy fire. Step over only when heaven permits. Not before. Not even if your heart longs to understand them. You may feel your heart race unexpectedly over the next few nights. A sense of being watched. A cold flash in your spine. These are not symptoms of fear, they are your spirit scanning the atmosphere for the soul trying to reach you without permission. This is a spiritual reckoning, not a romantic destiny. Do not confuse divine justice with emotional fulfillment. What's coming is bigger than reconciliation, it's restoration, which sometimes means remaining untouchable by those who once ignored your sacred worth. The millionaire is watching, but they are also being watched. Forces they never believed in are standing around their empire now. Counting, measuring, waiting. Every moment they delay their surrender to divine law costs them more than they know. You are a trigger in their timeline. A divine alarm. A soul-shaped mirror they were never prepared to face. You were hidden until now because the world needed to forget you before it could remember what you really are. Archangel Michael says your light was kept dim not because you were weak, but because those around you weren't ready to face what you awaken in them. Now, that time has expired. Your presence is beginning to ignite consequences in places you've never even seen. Soon, you will feel an urge to cleanse something, your space, your body, your emotions. Follow that instinct. The spiritual residue of this person's unrest may try to cling to you. You must remain unpolluted. When you feel the pull to speak your truth, do so without trembling. Their money cannot silence the storm inside you. Your voice is a gate. And heaven has assigned an angel to stand behind your words, ready to strike if harm is intended. There will be a moment, brief, breathtaking, unexplainable, where your eyes will meet theirs in spirit or in person, and they will see it, the price of the peace they forfeited. And you will see it too. The wealth they worshipped is now begging to be redeemed through you. The air around your name is no longer silent. There is a strange wind moving through people's mouths, conversations you aren't present in, but your spirit is. Strangers are saying your name without knowing why, and each time they do, something trembles in the invisible world. The wind carries more than words. It carries memories that were buried too deep. It picks up your essence and throws it into the dreams of people who thought they had forgotten you. This is not coincidence, it is divine retrieval. The spiritual realm is taking your silence and turning it into sound. God says what was once dismissed as your weakness is now being remembered as holy evidence. You were overlooked because your power was dormant. But the dormancy has shattered. What was hidden inside you is breaking open like a sealed scroll under firelight. People are waking up to what they did not protect. The ones who ghosted you, rejected you, used you, and then moved on are suddenly overwhelmed with the sense that they made a terrible mistake. Not just emotionally, but cosmically. Their spirits are being called to account for their betrayal. A spiritual tide is rising in places you once cried alone. Where you wept, fire now burns in the soil. Heaven did not forget. Heaven was waiting. Every unshed tear in you became oil for the anointing now setting your atmosphere on fire. Archangel Michael says this storm is not punishment, it's memory. Divine memory. The kind that keeps records even when people erase texts, delete photos, block numbers, and pretend you never mattered. The wind is correcting their narrative, you will begin to feel it first in your skin. Like a prickling. A chill. A warmth. Your body will become an instrument of prophecy, sensing what others cannot say. This is your armor, not your anxiety. Do not mistake divine sensation for fear. There are people who are suddenly unable to focus, unable to move on, unable to sleep. They think it's grief. They think it's guilt. But it's you. Your spirit is being returned to the center where they tried to remove you. The throne they claimed was empty now rings with your vibration. God says the voices of the deceivers are cracking. Their influence is eroding. Those who twisted your story to protect their own are choking on their lies. You don't have to expose them, your emergence is exposure enough. There will be strange events. Objects falling. Power flickering. Calls dropping just as secrets are about to be told. You are not cursed. You are spiritually electrified. Your name has become a beacon in the heavens, and every force, good or evil, feels it. Archangel Michael says you are surrounded. But not by enemies. By watchers. Witnesses. Angels who were silent while you suffered are now speaking in thunder, rattling the cages where your reputation was imprisoned. You may feel alone. But you are not abandoned. The silence was never empty, it was sacred. It was the sound of God building an army around you, and now that army is moving. The strange wind is the sound of spiritual forces marching at your defense. Someone who once betrayed you will soon confess without knowing why. They will say things they swore to keep buried. The spirit inside them is being overpowered by something holier than their pride. You won't need revenge, divine revelation is already unraveling them. A place you thought was closed to you will suddenly call you back. A door will reopen. A job. A relationship. A resource. You'll know it's from God because the return won't come with manipulation, it will come with trembling honesty. And your spirit will not feel chained. The person who took your kindness and trampled it is being haunted, not by demons, but by destiny. Every time they think they've moved on, your name arrives like smoke in the corners of their room. It's not a punishment. It's a warning. If they don't repent, they will unravel. God says do not pity those being corrected. Their shame is the only currency they can offer for what they destroyed. And even then, you are not required to accept it. Forgiveness is divine. Access is holy. Not everyone deserves both. The strange wind will also carry allies. People you never expected. Some are new. Some are returning from a different version of their past. But all of them are being drawn to you by divine instruction. Heaven is reassembling your circle. Archangel Michael says be careful not to confuse restoration with reunion. Some things are being healed, not restarted. Some people are being drawn to you, not to love you, but to learn from you. You are not obligated to educate their guilt. There will be a moment, unmistakable, where you will feel your heart thud in your chest like it's speaking. Pay attention. What it's saying is not fear. It's remembrance. It's the sound of your body agreeing with your spirit. This is the moment you were built for. You'll sense someone watching you. Not with hatred. Not with lust. With awe. With recognition. With terror. They realize who you really are now, and they are undone. Because the person they thought they buried is not only alive, but rising like prophecy. Your face will shine differently in the mirror. Not vanity, radiance. You will speak, and your words will strike. Not cruelty, clarity. You will walk into rooms and feel the atmosphere shift. Not arrogance, anointing. You are moving with divine fire in your bones. God says this next phase of your life cannot be delayed. The wind is not coming, it is already here. Your name is being carried through dimensions. Angels are whispering it. Archangels are guarding it. Enemies are choking on it. They thought your silence meant you were gone. They thought your absence meant they won. But you were only waiting for the divine signal. And now, the skies have opened. The wind has been sent. You are the storm that healing wears as armor. You are the one they forgot, until heaven reminded them. You are the one they doubted, until divine power began speaking for you. You are the one they left behind, until the wind carried your name back like a weapon of glory. Something unexpected has happened in the realm of the unseen. A figure, cloaked in influence and wealth, stood before your spiritual imprint long before your name ever touched their ears. They didn't stumble upon you, they were summoned. And what they saw startled them so deeply, it cracked something inside their soul. This person lives in a world far removed from yours, boardrooms, flashing lights, secret meetings behind doors you've never opened. But even surrounded by noise, your presence broke through. They felt it like static in their chest. An ache. A call. A pull. A whisper that wouldn't stop echoing, you must find this one. At first, they dismissed it. Tried to shake it off like a passing shadow. But the sensation grew stronger with each hour. It showed up in moments meant to be focused. It interrupted their appetite. It clouded their clarity. They couldn't see your face, but they felt your sorrow. And it haunted them. Archangel Michael says this millionaire did not choose you from vanity or fascination. It was a divine interruption. A spiritual appointment buried in their destiny long before your pain even began. You were written into their redemption, and now the time has come for that story to begin. They tried to research you in the usual way. Nothing satisfied the spiritual curiosity. Your photos, your past, your public footprints, they didn't explain the heat in their chest. What touched them wasn't what they saw, it was what they sensed. And what they sensed was that you have survived something holy. God says this person has been divinely disturbed. Their spirit has been awakened not by power, but by your pain. They saw a flash of your essence and felt your burden like it was theirs. And that terrified them more than any business loss or public scandal. Because this wasn't normal. This was prophetic. They tried to resist. They tried to drown out the pull with people, with pleasure, with money, with distractions. But none of it worked. Because this wasn't their spirit choosing you, it was God's spirit pushing them to you. And now they are trembling. Because the one they were warned would appear, has. Their team noticed the shift. The one always in control suddenly distracted. The one always decisive now full of hesitations. But they couldn't explain it. Only this person knows the truth: you're the disturbance they've been waiting for. The divine one who changes the course. The unexpected. Archangel Michael says your name has been placed on a decision table. A real one. In a space you've never seen. A space where decisions that shape lives are made. And your presence at that table is spiritual, but no less powerful. Because now, the one with wealth is being called to bow to something greater than themselves, you. You have been judged by those around you. Criticized. Abandoned. Laughed at. But now the very thing they used to mock you, your sensitivity, your gift, your sorrow, is the very thing that has arrested this powerful soul. They see what others refuse to. The vision they saw of you wasn't glamorous. It wasn't seductive. It was holy. You stood in light, barefoot and broken, but crowned. You didn't chase them. You didn't beg. You stood still. And the heavens around you glowed with such grief and power, they wept without knowing why. This person was not sent to save you. They were sent because you are the one who carries a salvation they didn't know they needed. Their money won't fix your wounds. But your presence will awaken their soul. God says do not shrink when this connection begins to form. You were not created to cower. You were not summoned to impress. You were summoned because what you carry is holy fire. And their destiny is about to walk through it. This isn't about romance. It isn't about transaction. This is a holy collision. A divine rerouting. And the one who once had everything, now realizes they are bankrupt without the light you carry. The millionaire is shaken because you don't want their money. You want peace. You want truth. You want freedom. And that scares them more than any deal they've ever faced. Because it forces them to face themselves. Archangel Michael says your silence is what drew them closer. Your refusal to be loud in pain is what made your spirit thunder in heaven. Now it thunders in their heart. You became a question they couldn't answer. A song they couldn't skip. They've started watching from afar. Learning you. Studying you. Protecting you quietly. They are stepping into your world like someone tiptoeing through sacred ground. Because they know now, you are not ordinary. God says this connection is not for show. It's for purpose. You are being positioned to walk beside influence, not to be consumed by it, but to transform it. Your presence is not ornamental. It is oracular. You speak what others silence. And they hear you. There are forces trying to block this alignment. Envy. Confusion. Interference. But they will fail. Because what brought you to this moment wasn't strategy. It was divine fire. And fire cannot be buried. It only burns brighter. You will feel the shift soon. An invitation. An offer. A message that feels too bold, too sudden. Don't fear it. It's not random. It is written. The millionaire has already started changing, and they don't even know your full name yet. You will know them not by what they give, but by how their voice trembles when they speak to you. They will look at you and see the reason they survived their darkest moment. And they will confess what they saw, what they felt, and why they never turned away. You are not a project. You are not a prize. You are the divine answer to a spiritual drought they never spoke of. And now, they are parched. And you carry water. The world will be shocked. But heaven will smile. Because what they call coincidence is actually covenant. And what they feared would break you has built you into a throne no one expected to see. You are not here to chase. You are here to change. And the one who has everything is ready to bow.